Welcome to Envision Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. Thriving Women Radio is an affiliate of the Trendsetter Podcast Network and Trendsetter Mentor Group, and a network that empowers women to thrive and live their best life. My name is Andrea Boenzi, and I wanted to thank you so much for tuning in to Thriving Women today. This is day one for Thriving Women, and we wanted to start the show thanking Jerisha Moore, CEO of Envision Broadcasting, for giving us this opportunity to join her developing network. We will continue the mission of inspiring, encouraging, and empowering. The Thrive Tribe wants to give a special recognition to our media mentor, Maureen Fagnano, CEO and President at MEF Media, for introducing our executive producer, Daryl Johnson, to Jerisha at Envision Broadcasting. Our name here, Thriving Women, represents you, our listeners, that are growing, developing, and being successful. Our topics, books, and guests on our show will wow and inspire you to thrive and become the best you. I would like to take some time to introduce our co-hosts to Thriving Women Show. We call ourselves the Thrive Tribe, and wanted to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves and say hello.
Hi everyone, my name is Noelle Ramos and I am from the state of Georgia. I am a registered representative and I get the pleasure of helping people plan their retirement and plan and retire with dignity. It's great. I love what I do.
Hey, this is Lexi Navarro and I'm from the great state of Texas. I'm also a financial professional. My passion is just helping people, solving problems, and just helping people have a better life.
Good afternoon. This is Rosalind McLuhan from Orlando, Florida. I am a real estate broker and a financial advisor. I love helping people reach their goals and dreams.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. And we will also have joining us Selena Reynolds and Sabrina Prochik. We're excited to have them as co-hosts on our show. Again, my name is Andrea Boenzi, and I am talking to you live from Southern Arizona. I'm also a financial professional where I coach others on becoming financially independent, and I'm very excited to be able to speak to you guys today on our topic. So happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Thrive Tribe. On today's show, we are very excited to introduce a newer technology that we're just learning about called the LifeWave X39 patch. So you guys, listen to this. LifeWave has substantiated by its own clinical research that this patch reduces pain, stress, and improves your quality of sleep. Clients have stated that it reduces lines and wrinkles and has many other health and wellness benefits, so we're excited to learn about this. This is not fake news, you guys. We have invited a guest today, Jessica Peterson. She's the CEO of CEO of Simple Wow Agency, and also an author of the book Create a Wow Life, to share her story of how this LifeWave X39 technology has made a difference in her teenage daughter's chronic pain. So we're excited to have Jessica on with us. And before we introduce her, I wanted to take just a quick commercial break, and when we return, the Thrive Tribe will discuss with our co-host, Jessica, what is LifeWave, the X39 patch. So we'll be right back.
Thriving Women is sponsored by Trendsetter Mentor Group, an exclusive membership for mentorship. Trendsetter Mentor Group is an exclusive Facebook mentoring membership for thriving entrepreneurs with a culture of diversity, unity, caring, and collaboration. TMG's mission is connecting entrepreneurs, personal development, mentoring, and building relationships. Now, if you are a thriving entrepreneur and inspired to surround yourself with like-minded peak performers, join TMG's exclusive membership group on Facebook by sending a member request to the Trendsetter Mentor Group. We are the membership for mentorship. Now back to the Thriving Women Show.
Awesome. Welcome back to the Thriving Women Radio Show. If you're just tuning in, my name is Andrea Boenzi, and I'm streaming live today from Tucson, Arizona, joined with my Thrive Tribe. And today's hot topic is this: do you suffer from chronic pain, stress, and insomnia? Today we're going to introduce to our audience a new technology called LiveWave X39 patch, and it kind of sounds like Star Wars technology, so I'm excited to learn more about it. So,
definitely,
guys, if you're listening in, I don't want you to think this is fake news. We're going to read this directly from their website, and I wanted to quote, "The LifeWave X39 is clinically proven to provide the body with a level of health and vitality that you have not experienced since you were in your youth. Backed by multiple clinical studies and 20 years of development, the LifeWave X39 patch has been demonstrated to provide an abundance of health benefits." So what do you think about that? Wasn't even my words. I'm curious. I've got to know more. Noelle Ramos is streaming live from Atlanta, Georgia. And can you share with our listeners the history of the LifeWave X39 patch?
Absolutely, man. I was so excited just to hear that she's talked about wrinkles, and I'm like, yay, let's listen more about this. So over the past 10 years, David Schmidt, he's the founder and the CEO of LiveWave, and the research team at LiveWave in San Diego, California, they've been investigating new methods for dramatically accelerating the way in which human body heals after an injury. I mean, that's just unbelievable. The discoveries and the inventions that were created by David and his team have led to more than 70 global patents in the field of regenerative science. So some of these inventions are becoming groundbreaking initial trials, and they're using flatworms, which flatworms, if you don't know, which I didn't, is a biological stem cell model, and it shows up to a phenomenal 90% improvement in the speed of healing your wounds. That's 90%. That's just remarkable. And it really almost does sound too good to be true. But we have Lexi Navarro streaming from Dallas, Texas, and she's going to, Lexi, can you tell me what is another way to explain to our listeners, please?
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Noelle. And so you might want to think, okay, why the speed in the wound healing? What is the reason for this, or why is this necessary? So as this website states, that as we age, the stem cells in our body become less and less effective. By the time we reach 60, which I didn't know this, which is not too far from where I'm at, the stem cells in our body show very little activity, becoming slower and releasing fewer growth factors that are needed to repair our body. Now, by the time we are in our mid-70s, we're showing almost no stem cell activity at all. So that is definitely concerning. And so this is why people that are older have difficulty healing from injury. Solie Reynolds is streaming live from Baltimore, Maryland. Solie, does this sound too sci-fi for you?
You know, I visited the website and I wanted to share this note. So what most companies are working on in the field of stem cell medicine is to inject stem cells from a younger donor person into an older recipient. And while this may be promising, the problem is that this is potentially dangerous because of uncontrolled cell division. It's costly, in excess of $10,000 for a single treatment, and is not legal. Most countries have not approved stem cell therapy. But what if there was a way to reset our own stem cells and get them to start acting like younger, healthier cells? This would be incredibly safe, incredibly effective, and extremely inexpensive. As a reminder to our listeners, Thriving Women are not endorsing LiveWave X39 patch. We are just sharing the knowledge to empower our listeners to thrive.
Thank you, Selena, for making that disclaimer. And the statement came directly from the website, so benefits can be immediate. Unlike most products, LifeWave X39 goes to work the minute that you apply it. So it supports wound healing. We just heard a little bit about that. Some of our most dramatic testimonials on the X39 has been in the area of wound healing. wound healing is, of course, it's a natural process, and it requires the presence of stem cells. So as we age, our stem cells become less effective, though. So with the X39, you can activate your stem cells and provide support for your body's natural healing process. So let's look at it this way. Instead of taking the company's word, we have invited Jessica Peterson, CEO of Simply Wow Agency and also author of the book Creative Wildlife, to the show to share with us her testimony to this product. So welcome to Thriving Women, Jessica. Thank you so much for joining us today. I wanted to take an opportunity to get to know you a little bit later in the show, but for now, can you just share with our audience your testimony on this patch?
Yes, well, thank you for having me. And the journey started actually this past August. My teenage daughter was in and out of the hospital and had multiple surgeries, and her pain, we had a very difficult time keeping it under control. So my husband and I, we decided to go ahead and test the patch on ourselves. What we were surprised to discover is that the sharp pain down my leg went away, and then my husband's back pain went away. So we went ahead and used it on our teenage daughter, and to our surprise, her pain level went from a 9 down to a 3.
Wow. That is incredible.
Amazing.
So I just wanted to ask really quick, how quickly did that affect her? I know they say that the patch has almost had that immediate result. Was it within minutes?
For her, it was probably within 30 seconds.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
I'm excited. Okay, so we're going to take another brief commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to introduce our Thriving book recommendation to our listeners, and then, Jessica, we're going to bring you back in and continue our conversation because I want to learn more. So we'll be right back.
Thriving Women is sponsored by Trendsetter Mentor Group, an exclusive membership for mentorship. Trendsetter Mentor Group is an exclusive Facebook mentoring membership for thriving entrepreneurs with a culture of diversity, unity, caring, and collaboration. TMG's mission is connecting entrepreneurs, personal development, mentoring, and building relationships. If you are a thriving entrepreneur and aspire to surround yourself with like-minded peak performers, then join TMG's exclusive membership group on Facebook by sending a member request to the Trendsetter Mentor Group. We are the membership for mentorship. Back to the Thriving Women Show.
Welcome back to the Thriving Women Radio. If you just tuned in, we just introduced a new product called Live Wave X39 Patch that helps your body heal itself. So we invited Jessica to share her testimony on the product, and we just got to hear an amazing story of just how quickly it worked. But before we get back to the interview, we just want to introduce our audience to a book that will help face adversity, build resilience, and maybe find some joy in your life. So the title of this book is Option B, written by Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook, along with Adam Grant. So this book, Option B, talks about facing adversity, building resilience, and finding joy, is somewhat framed as advice for people who are grieving and want to find support in the community. Sandberg, COO of Facebook, recommends avoiding psychologist Martin, and I'm probably going to butcher his last name, Seligman, termed the 3 Ps, which is personalization, this is all my fault, and pervasiveness, this affects everything, and permanence, nothing will ever be the same again. So after the sudden death of her husband, Sheryl Sandberg felt that she and her children would never feel pure joy again, rightly so, Her friend and psychologist, Adam Grant, who is also the co-author, told her that there were concrete steps people can take to recover and rebound. So Option B combines Cheryl's personal insights along with Adam's eye-opening research on finding strength in the face of adversity. The book also explores the stories of a broad range of people who have overcome challenges in their lives and have identified how we can best talk and help to others in crisis. And it offers practical tips for creating resilient families, communities, and workplaces. So me and my partner, my Thrive Tribe partner, Lexi, we're going to share our notes each week with you guys to inspire our listeners. And we want you to take the journey with us and try to thrive and not just survive. Lexi, can you tell me what lessons did you get from the book Option B that we've just started?
Yes, Noelle, thanks for just sharing that your part on the book. But what I wanted to say first is when I first started reading that book, I was like, I didn't even know that her husband passed away. I was so sad because it started out with the death of her husband, and just to be able to overcome something like that. And one of the lessons learned is the resilience, is the strength and speed of our response to adversity. It's a skill set we develop over the course of our lives. And there are concrete steps, right, that we can take to build resilience long before we face any kind of difficulty. And for as we go on our day-to-day lives, many times we need to be able to become prepared. You can never be prepared for something that she experienced, but for me, it was just like, okay, how did she deal with this? And so we often have a hard time talking about adversity. But staying silent can make our loved ones feel even more isolated after loss or hardship. And so also talking about loss or trauma. We all hope to bounce back. Some of us manage to bounce forward, learning how helping others gives our suffering meaning. And so also allowing us to grow from the most difficult experience of our lives. Sheryl Sandberg and Adam Grant, they discuss how kids are often resilient because she had kids when this happened and they were small. And then we think there are concrete things that we can do to help them build that resilience, help the kids, right, including making sure that they know they aren't facing adversity alone. And the guilt that is felt after a loss or a trauma can prevent us from enjoying the things that we love. And that's where the joy comes in. But when we give ourselves permission to do what we love, we allow ourselves to reclaim joy in our lives. So I'm excited, Noelle, to be sharing and to be doing this with you at this season.
Yeah, Lexi, I like the point that you brought that we have guilt after a loss, and isn't that so true for all of us? I know, we're all going through stuff at the moment, and we have that guilt factor that just kind of clicks in where it's just like, I lost my grandmother at some point, and it's just like, did I go and see her enough? Did I visit her enough? And all that what ifs and should I and could I, and everything starts, just overwhelmingly just takes over your body, and you're just like, was I good enough to that person? Did I treat them good enough? And, you're just never going to know. And I know we've all experienced that guilt. And this book is, the part that's going to help you try to overcome that guilt and try to find joy back in your life. Like you said, Lexi, we need to reclaim the joy in our lives and take our lives back. And it's, it's easier said than done. I'm sitting here saying it, and it's like, oh, yeah, sure, easy for you to say. But we're going to review this book, Option B, and we encourage our listeners, all of you guys out there, just get the book, take that journey with us and find the joy and rebuild your resilience. And we're challenged in our life adversities all the time, and we have to seek out others for support, and we need to be a source, we need to be a friend, we need to be not only there for ourselves, but our friends. And we just would like you to download the book, Option B. There's many places you can download it. I Googled it and found it everywhere, Option B by Sheryl Sandberg. And take the journey with us. So I'd like to get back to our interview with Jessica Peterson. We have Sabrina Protic on the line with us. She is an author and a Thriving Woman co-host from Tampa Bay, Florida, and she's going to continue the conversation with Jessica Peterson, author of the book Creating a Wild Life.
You know, I know that Sabrina is she's kind of right in the middle of something right now. Sometimes things pop up, and then we just have to adjust. So I wanted to circle back not only to reviewing the book, Option B. You know, it's definitely something that can make a difference with us. We review these different books each season, but also the hot topic. These topics are devised in a way to help us grow through what we're going through. And like Noelle said, we are meant to be a lighthouse for those of you that are listening in today. There are some things that each of us go through in life that maybe we're just not proud of, and we feel like we are too embarrassed to share our stories with anybody else because of blah, 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 whatever, fill in the blank. I want you to know you're not alone, and there are things that each of us are going through. We all have our battles, and we are here to share it with you and pay forward our experiences and shine the light on what's happening. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is not a train. It is your life, and it's up to you to decide how fast are you going to get there. How's it going to happen? Are you going to do it by yourself? Don't. You don't have to. You've got a team right here. We've named ourselves the Thrive Tribe, and that's what we're here to do, is help you thrive and not only survive. So that's one of the main reasons why we are doing what we're doing here today with you guys. The hot topic is something that I feel that we each, we can all relate with different things. And, ladies.
Right, and a lot of the times we feel that we don't want to share our problems because we feel we're burdening our friends. Like, oh, well, they have their own issues and they have their own problems, so I'm not going to burden them with my problems, and I'm just going to keep it bottled in, and I'm going to keep it to myself. And that's a big issue for me, and that's where I kind of go wrong, too, is like, well, I'm not going to share with anybody because someone else is probably going through something worse than I am. So I'm going to bottle it in, and I'm going to keep it, and it doesn't help anybody, especially not me.
Well, I feel it helps. I feel it helps everyone and everything, because you know what? I'm a listener, and you know what? I go through it right now, and you Thriving Women have also helped me through the situation I'm going through right now with my niece, very ill, critical. But that kind words and that kind thought, someone always needs a friend or source. So we must reach out so we can keep thriving as women, entrepreneurs, working, going through that situation, and to keep moving. So we definitely, everyone needs to actually pull down that book. You can get audio, reach out to your friends, or kind words to someone here. We have a local thing in the McDonald house. A lady was sitting by herself. A kind words brought her hope in the situation she is, and to thrive and to keep going for her child. So this is very important, and I appreciate everyone on here also for these Thriving Women. So great.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to share about when we read books, because I love reading books, so I really enjoy the fact that we always have a set book that we're reading, and it's intentional why we're reading this book at this time, and so I love that. But one thing I want to share about one of my secrets, or one of my tips that I do when I read books or when I listen to them, because many times I don't read them, I listen to them. And so that's why we shared that we have Audible, that this book is on Audible. Is, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can actually listen to the speed of the person who's reading the book. Did you know that you can up the speed, make it go faster?
No.
Yeah, I knew that.
I didn't know that.
Okay. I do that all the time. So listen to this. My sister is also she also reads her books. She does Audible, and she says, I like it fast. I'm like, really? How fast do you go? And she said she goes like up to like almost 3, and I'm like, that's too fast for me. But I can actually listen to it at twice the speed. So I can finish a book like really quick. So I like to listen to it, but I mean to a point where I'm still understanding the book. But I just wanted to share that with y'all because I listen to my books at twice the speed on Audible, and it helps get you through the book, especially because we don't have a lot of time. So sometimes people think, well, how do you have time to read or how do you have time to listen? But you can listen to a book at twice the speed just so that everybody knows. And you may have to build yourself up to that, but it's possible.
That's a great tip, Lexi. I didn't realize that. And, sometimes it does make sense because the author is taking time. Maybe they're dragging on and really they stress the importance. And you're like, okay, I got it already. Let's move forward. That's interesting. I feel like so many great things have come from this journey together. We started out and we've really become close as friends. And I hope that those of you that are listening can relate to the stories that we share. And I know that we laugh and we have a great time, but there's some really important things that we cover. And so, again, we're here today. We are talking about these life-changing events where maybe we've had an injury or an illness that has popped up and that it keeps us from being our best, both mentally and physically. And so, I just want to circle back to really our hot topic of getting through, this pain and overcoming the chronic pain, and maybe it's stress or maybe it's insomnia that is just holding us back from getting the rest that our bodies really need to heal ourselves. So, again, just grateful that we have the opportunity to bring people on like Jessica that can comment and share their life experiences, and absolutely want to be able to get to know a little bit more about her and her family, and what has been going on with this patch. How did we get there? How did you learn about it? And I know we all have questions, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes by asking a question that somebody else I'm sure already does. But Jessica, could you just share with us briefly, really, how were you introduced to this company? And I know you touched base on it a little bit earlier about how your daughter, it really helped your daughter in a matter of seconds. Was that really the game changer for you guys?
Yes. I mean, I don't know if anyone listening has gone through watching someone in their family that they love go through pain or themselves through pain. And it really can have a big effect on your life and business in a variety of areas. So at that moment, it was just so surreal when that happened. I'm so grateful, for myself, God, to have this answer, because I kept saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Morphine wouldn't even help her.
Mm-hmm. Well, and, those are types of things, those are concerns, especially with our children. They're still developing, their bodies are still growing, and, those types of drugs, our bodies don't naturally make that. That is something that has been chemically engineered for a response. So when you are administering something to that degree into your child, thankfully I've not had to do that. But it makes me sick to my stomach just thinking if I would ever have to do that. So I'm so glad that you found an alternative. I know Sabrina she's back in with us, and I know she wanted to continue with her questions, and I'll let her have her time.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me on. It's been a great show, and I've certainly enjoyed listening to this awesome LifeWave patch. I did want to acknowledge my fellow Floridian, Rosalind McEwen. We'll be hearing from her later. But we're just honored to really talk to Jessica and our listeners about this beautiful science. So we kind of talked a little bit about how you got started, and I certainly want to commend you, first of all, Jessica, for trying it on yourself first. I was paying particular attention to that. You and your husband tried it first before you tried it on your daughter. So that speaks volumes for you and your husband before you tried this in science. But, again, we kind of heard a little bit about it, but I'd like to ask you a few questions. Did you consult with a doctor before using the patch? And if you did, what did you learn from that?
Oh, well, I didn't, and I'm not saying everyone else listening should do the same. I'm not here to give medical advice, just to share my journey. I will share with you, though, I forgot she had the patch on, and she had a follow-up appointment with her doctor, and the doctor saw it and said, "What is this?" And I thought, oh, no, what is my daughter going to say? And my daughter said, "The only thing that helps my pain." So the doctor wanted to do research. There's 80 clinical studies and lots of different reports, and I know of other doctors who believe in it. So anyhow, that's a story on the doctor part of it. I'm not saying anyone else, should or shouldn't. Just always do your research and do what's best for you.
Well, that's excellent. We appreciate your honesty and transparency, and that's what Thriving Women we're about. We're about bringing out the truth. But, again, you tried it on yourself, and you tried it on your husband, and so you were willing to take any bullets, and it turned out to be great, what they call the silver bullet. So we appreciate that. Now, most of our listeners, we've tried different things for pain solutions, pain, stress, whatever. There's no end to that. What we'd like to know from you is, what do you think in terms of long-term effects of this patch, this X39 patch? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are, do your research, and just watching my friends and seeing what's happening with them and also what's happening with us. So far, it's all been great. You can find out more information and the science behind it. For myself, I like the fact, and this is my own personal belief, that when you can attract a light frequency into our body to naturally stimulate stem cells, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I want to validate Jessica a little bit. She's a personal friend. And, when you get the word from someone that right away you've got that immediate comfort. And I believe her. She's a trusted person, and she's tried it on her family. So still more research to be done. Like she says, she's invited everyone to do their own research, but certainly she's a trusted person. So I'd like to turn this over to my thriving sister, Rosalind McEwen. Rosalind, can you share with us some thoughts on this?
Yes, I appreciate it. This has been fabulous because you know what? A lot of us are in pain, and there's something maybe we can look forward into because I know how that knee gives away half the time, and sometimes it's hard to walk. So this is very interesting, and I believe in your natural stuff doing so. This, Jessica, this is awesome, and we thank you for sharing this journey with us. But I had another question because we want to share with our listeners also, what inspired you to write this book, Create a Wow Life, and what does that actually mean?
That is a great question. So it started a little over 3 years ago. My husband ended up in ICU. And I talk about the story more in the book, Create a Wow Life. I had that aha moment when, when something big like that happens in your life, I realize every second, every minute, every hour, every day is a gift. We can make more money. We can never make more time. So from that moment forward, I wanted to inspire people to live a life that they desire, that they dream of. I created a formula to pull that out of people, and then not only pull it out, but also how to take action. What's going to hold you back, and to actually go ahead and implement it. So it started as Create the Perfect Day, which evolved into Create a Wow Life.
Wow, that's great. You've been really going through some wow moments here lately. I feel the same. But also, I see you kind of talked a bit about it, but how does this book help us thrive and our listeners I kind of got a little bit what you said on thrive and just not survive. So does that questionnaire help us to just, to go ahead and thrive better than just us surviving and going through it? So, can you kind of lean in on that a little?
Yes. What inspires me daily is when people write in how it changed or transformed their lives. I have a woman who wrote in and said it completely changed her life. She's, healthier. She's in now a career path that she loves. She actually was inspired to take a vacation. And, everybody's life, their wow life, looks different for them. We're not here to say, how you should live your life. It's more of how you want and desire to live your life and how to actually achieve it.
That's fantastic. So I know that thought somebody sending you that information just made you feel it was all worthwhile, correct?
Oh, absolutely. My goal every single day is to just keep it simple. That's why the name of my company Simply Wow Agency, and I'm also a real estate agent. I'm on a mission to wow at least one person a day.
That is fantastic. I like that. You've also written several best-selling books, spoke on TED Talks and many other platforms. I'm repeating it again almost. What are you most proud of and keeps you thriving?
Oh, what am I most proud of? Probably my husband. It's been a journey. It wasn't always easy. We were going to get divorced at the 4-year mark. This month is 22 years. So I'm really proud of our relationship and how it's evolved. And then also my daughter. I was told I could never have kids, and here she is.
Wow, that's amazing. So I have a good question for you from a millennial perspective, or just from any woman's perspective, because the whole time I've been listening to you, I'm thinking about all of the women that are listening, and they're thinking to themselves, well, wow, this is great, but how do I start? I can see the end, but I don't know the first step that I should be taking. So what would you say to the ladies listening on the line today about taking that first step? What would that be?
Well, I'm not here to just pitch my book. I would say probably purchase my book, Create a Wow Life, because, and I want to say it's wow, W-O-W. It cracks me up. So common. People say create a wild life. I'm far from wild. There is another famous author, Jessica Peterson, who writes romance novels. That's not me. So just a disclaimer. I would probably say invest in my book. It just takes you on that journey and that formula, to go ahead and change your life.
Excellent. Jessica, this is Sabrina. I'd like to say that I read your book, and I was definitely wowed when I read it. And to the audience, it's a very easy read. And like Jessica said, purchase the book. But Jessica, just a quick comment. There's a portion in that book that talks about gaining some time. Can you just give us just a teaser on that?
Oh, okay, yes. So I created a formula how to gift yourself 9 weeks of time every year. And when we look at time this way, it totally transforms our lives and how we're investing our time. So I sat down and I figured, okay, if we take 1 hour a day times 365 days out of the year, that's 365 hours. Pretty simple math. And then if we divide that by a traditional 40-hour work week, we come up with 9 weeks. So if you can save 1 hour in your day, every single day, you are essentially gifting yourself 9 weeks of time.
Wow, that's beautiful. Of course, you've got to read the book to get the exact detail, but this is a gift, and this is another way you can wow your life. And another part of her book, and I know she's not pitching her book, but it is such a great read, is that you feel very uplifted when you read the book. You get this sense of calm, and she makes you look at life from a positive standpoint. Very refreshing. It's definitely an upper book if you need to feel refreshed and revitalized. And Jessica, we want to thank you for sharing a book like this to our audience and, you know, to people who follow you, but also that excellent, I'm going to go back just for a second on that excellent Life Wave patch. I know that's big news for you and what you're trying, and we certainly appreciate that because pain is a big thing in the lives of people every single day. People live with pain. So we're happy that you've shared that new science and that new technology with us. And this is the Thrive Tribe. Your sisters, we're always looking for new things. As Daryl puts it, sharing new things with people, and we appreciate this great share. But I'd like to ask you, Jessica, in terms of sharing, how can we get your book? How can we create a wow life? And how can we follow you on social media?
You can go to Amazon and type in Create a Wow Life, and it'll come up. You can always, look me up on Facebook. People say when they type in Jessica Peterson, WOW, I come up pretty quickly as well, so you can always find me there. And I'm also on Instagram as simply Jessica Peterson, and then LinkedIn as well.
That's great, and I'd also like to state that Jessica also is a motivational speaker. I've heard her speak, so if you're interested in booking her for anything, she's definitely available. She just did an awesome dream board event for us, our women entrepreneurs. She did a fantastic job. She empowered us, and she actually spoke on a topic matter of how to get exactly what you want. And I tell you, that was powerful. We call it the GET statement. So if you want to know about her GET statement, you want to know about her WOW book, you want to know about this X39 product, reach out to Jessica. She's available. She'll help you. Does anybody else have any additional questions? I know Andrew's going to end the show, but we've got a little bit of time. Anybody else have questions?
Yes, I have a question. Jessica, you were mentioning about, I haven't read your book, but I am looking forward to be able to read it. I already wrote it down how I can find it, and I will definitely get my hands on that. I love to read, and I love to read people's journeys and stories. And, you mentioned about your husband being in ICU, and I'm assuming you can relate even somewhat with Sheryl Sandberg's book about what happened with her husband. And you mentioned, one thing that you mentioned was how now every day that you do something to wow. Did you say something? You said something like wow somebody or wow somebody's life or something like that. But when I heard you say that, it just made me curious. I was just like, I wonder what she does. Or like, I wonder, like, maybe you could share what you've done like lately or this last week, or just maybe a moment that you can share with us so we can see what does that look like.
That is such a great question, and thank you that you want to go ahead and read my book. I can't wait to hear what a wow life looks like for you. And the book goes into more detail. Some people say, well, what does wowing someone mean? Does that mean you take them on a yacht boat ride? No, it could just be the simple things, and I just discuss it more in the book. I mean, it could be simply a smile. I know a celebrity, I won't say his name out of respect, but he said somebody smiled at him once and it changed his life, his day in his life. It could be just simple things. I do real estate and closed recently on a house with a customer, and I brought her some cake and visited with her yesterday, and it made her day. Today there's a gentleman that I met through social media, and him and his wife are coming in from out of town, and we're going to go on our boat. So it could be the variety, even a card. I like to send out cards to people. I've had people say that they broke down crying. So there's so many different ways, and I'm creating communities across the world. I'm in the process. It's called Wow Power Players, where we're all going to be on a mission to wow one person a day and take that pledge. And my dream is to have 1,000 people join me in that mission.
Okay. Well,
okay, I'm in. I'm going to wow somebody today.
Jessica, it's Andrea, and I did have a question because we're on the mentoring and leadership, and that's something that we have really worked hard to create a platform for others to join in. What is a program that maybe you were involved while you're going through life? You know, life happens, life stuff can tend to drag us down and hold us back. What type of support system did you have available to you, and did you find yourself craving, to grow that, or did you need more? Would you mind walking us through that feeling as you were going through your daughter's illness and even that of your husband's?
Well, that is a great question. I've never been asked that one before. So for myself, I'm grateful for the friends I have. For myself personally, I respect everyone else's beliefs. For myself, God, just had such a big part in my life and carrying me through. And, reading His Word really helped me to get through. And to just really look at the positive in life, it kind of reminds me when I was in high school. I remember the school came to me and said, we have a special program. We have to pick 5 kids who have the worst childhood, and you and your sister are 2 of the 5. And I remember thinking, well, that doesn't sound right. I don't think you should be sharing that with me. So I went through the program where we sat with a counselor to talk about things. And that moment had a huge impact in my life. I remember sitting there thinking, okay, I do believe in talking about it to an extent, but why are we not talking about the future and the positive and the good, and why is it just constantly talking about the negative in the life? So for me, always looking, what is my hope? What is my purpose? And to carry that through has been really helpful.
Yeah, I can imagine, as a child, how you don't know life any different. So for somebody to come with that label and say, you have this or this is, it's like, wow. I feel, I can relate to you on a couple different levels of just having a relationship with God. Me personally, I also have leaned on Him for a lot, and I do believe that things happen for a reason, and He puts people on our paths for a reason. And whether you believe or maybe you don't, I absolutely feel that the things that we're going through are opening us up to become overcomers. We are overcomers, and we're moving forward in a direction to continue to grow ourselves and others. And it's amazing who kind of walks in as you're walking down your path. We certainly don't seek out to go and say, I'm going to meet a mentor today, or I'm going to go find someone that's going to help me with this, whatever it is. There are certainly opportunities everywhere that we have to be open to, just receptive to. And I think that if you're focusing on that negative all the time, it's really hard to have that open mindset. Would that make sense to you, Jessica? You've got to have that positive light and be open to the opportunities. Would you be open to sharing with me maybe one relationship that you feel really impacted your direction? You mentioned you're in real estate. You meet a lot of people every day. You're in the network business. You're in the people business. Is there one person that you met through maybe showing properties or selling homes that affected you and directed you to where you feel like you are today?
It would probably be the gentleman. His name's Kevin Cottrell. He, him and I were both real estate coaches for years. And I remember I was talking with my coach about something particular that I wanted and needed to transform and change in my life and business. And nobody knew what that was except for my coach. And she shared, and so once we figured that out, I said, well, what's the next step? And she said, the next step is for you to listen. The answer will come to you. And I have to say, I thought, oh, my goodness, I only have patience for children and pets. I have to listen? It was torture for me. So it was a beautiful, wonderful lesson. She knew that was my weakness. And then that's when Kevin came to me. And without him knowing about my conversation, he said the two words that I was looking for, and he said it in that conversation. And I'm so grateful for him and his guidance and him and his partner, their mentorship. It's just been life-changing. I feel grateful for the amazing coaches I've had and currently have and mentors. I am grateful for what you guys are creating because it's so much needed and necessary in today's world.
Oh, well, thank you. And we're just as grateful to have you on to share a little bit about you. I know you've written this book, you've got some experience, and there's excitement in your life regarding the X39 patch. You're seeing some successes, and you're continuing to build and grow forward. And I understand how valuable time is, and I really wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day to share with us and our listeners, just because you never know who's listening, and you also never know how maybe two words you say can impact somebody to move forward and grow through what they're going through. So Jessica Peterson, thank you so much for the time that you've shared with us today. Did you have anything else that you maybe wanted to add?
Not that I can think of right now. Anyone that's listening, listen to the messages. Sometimes it may come in an area or a way we never thought of. Just like the X39 patch, I never imagined something like that would come in my life. I'm grateful for it. And it didn't come immediately. You got to remember the journey. We were in and out of the hospital with our daughter and the surgeries, and it eventually came. So anyone listening, please don't give up and have hope. The answers are there and will come at the right time.
Awesome. Terrific. Again, really quick, would you mind sharing what's the best way of our listeners to contact and follow you?
Absolutely. They can go to simplywowagency.com or look up my book on Amazon, Create a Wow Life, or on Facebook, Jessica Peterson, and then you type in WOW, and I should come up as well.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. We're excited to follow you along, and I know several of us are going to pick up your book, and we're going to jump into that. And it's just been a pleasure of getting to know you, and thanks again for joining us here on Thriving Women.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I know that we have a little bit of time left, and rather than cutting it off, I wanted to give a little bit of show and tell. I wanted somebody, I don't know who it's going to be, but who wants to step up and say, hey, on our team, and just share a little bit about, maybe just a little bit about your journey and why you're here, and maybe something that you got out of today's call.
I'll step up. Nobody likes to be the first. This is Noelle, and I am actually out of Atlanta, Georgia. I just want to say that today's call for me was pretty amazing because I had never heard of this X39 patch, and we go through all these ailments and just think pop some Tylenol. I mean, that's what I do. I just pop some Tylenol for everything. I mean, as you can tell, I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm wondering if this patch works for the cold too. So I'm very interested in hearing this, and it's like just it was very intriguing. Just a little bit about myself, though. I want to reach out and just say, I've been in retail I was in retail for about 18 and a half years, and then I switched over about 3 years into the financial services, and I've loved every minute of it. So for those of you who are out there who think you have to settle and stay where you're at because that's your comfort zone. I'm here to tell you I changed careers after 18 years of being in a comfort zone, making great pay, knowing what I was doing. And I want you to know it can happen. If you're not happy, switch gears, do it while you still can, and find what's going to drive you and push you and something you're more passionate about. That's just something a little bit I wanted to share about myself.
Well, and I want to echo that, Noelle. I think that it's so important, because this is also a second career for me. Get to a point and really discover what you love. What do you love to do? And a lot of people, I think we limit ourselves just based on what we've been told and taught while we're young and growing up. And I feel like today things are so different in our world than they were 10 and 20 years ago that we can make that change and do what we're passionate about. And we've got somebody that's just amazing at pulling it out of us that's on our team. Selena Reynolds, I wanted to pull you out. I know that kind of caught me off guard, but Selena's a coach, and she is doing some life changes herself. So, Selena, can you share with us just a little bit of what's been going on with you?
Sure. So I will always come with a little bit of a different perspective because, my background is a little bit different. I am a first-generation American. I am a millennial. Shout out to all the millennials over there. And, right now I am stepping into a new space of being a caregiver. And for a lot of us millennials, we, instead of thinking about having children and having a family, we're kind of pushing that off a little bit because now we have to think about taking care of our family members. So not only are we, starting our businesses or thinking about starting our businesses or, hating our 9-to-5s or, thinking about the next thing to do over the weekend, we're also thinking about our life changes. So we're in a very interesting kind of age range as millennials. And I really love today's show because we had the opportunity to learn about something that I wish I knew a couple months ago that I could have purchased for my mom. And she wouldn't have been in as much pain as she was in, while she was in the hospital and in the whole rehabilitation process. So I hope that everyone listening today had an opportunity to really take down some notes and really try it out for yourself.
Well, Selena, thank you for sharing that. I know I kind of pulled you off really quick, and I think it's just important that, we are each able to share a little bit more of who we are in our journey with you guys, the listeners. So I really wanted to thank you for joining the show today, and I would love to hear your feedback. I know that as we are growing forward, we tend to stumble on things, and I feel like I'm very guilty of not making that move because it's not perfect yet. So if you guys get anything out of today's call, continue to keep moving forward. And I know, I'm sorry, I messed it up again. It's a show. But there I go. I'm moving forward. I'm failing forward. Take the opportunities, learn the lessons, learn from us, and I hope that you can gain some strength from some of the things that we're sharing with you each week here on our Thriving Women show. It's been an awesome opportunity to be able to share with you guys, and next week we're going to learn how to unlock our full potential. So our Thriving Women guest next week is another best-selling author, Sabine Kevenberg, and we will be listening in on her story and her journey. So again, thank you for taking the journey with us here and also listening to Thriving Women, which is powered by the Trendsetter Mentor Group, a membership for mentorship. And you guys, I would invite you to follow our hosts on Facebook or Instagram. So please reach out. Would love to connect with you. And if you're interested in joining the Trendsetter Mentor Group or being a guest on our Thriving Women show, I would love to invite you to email a request to our producer, Daryl Johnson. He can be reached at npartners yahoo.com. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure, and looking forward to growing forward with you guys today, tomorrow, and the rest of the year. Thanks so much, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.